The best way to change our lives is to change our subconscious. But how deep do we need to go to be able to do this? How willing are you to do it? We are in an increasingly chaotic and radical world, and the only way to change it is to start changing ourselves, and that all starts with our mind. How many times have you found yourself wanting to change your life? How many late nights have you spent staring at the ceiling wanting different things? I know I've been there too, and there have been many sleepless nights. The Stoics had great strength in determining their destiny, and they started with their mind. The strength they show us began with Epictetus, who was a slave at the beginning of his life. And even though he was a slave, he was freer than the vast majority of people, because he had mastered his mind and learned to deal with adversity with indifference. The art of living is unique and is possible for everyone, but unfortunately most people die as if they hadn't lived. But following Stoic principles and those of other philosophies, let's see how it is possible to live in peace with our mind and determine our own destinies. True happiness lies in letting go of concerns beyond our control. There exists only one path to contentment. External troubles do not inherently cause distress. It is our perception of them that holds the power, and we can change this perspective at will. The biggest barrier to a fulfilling life is the anticipation of tomorrow, neglecting the present. Focus on what you can control, not on uncertain future outcomes. Embrace the now. Men are troubled not by circumstances, but by their interpretations of those circumstances. Death, for example, is not inherently terrifying. It's our perception of it that induces fear. Take responsibility for your own reactions and perspectives. Assigning blame to others for our misfortunes is the mark of an unenlightened individual. Those in the process of learning blame themselves, while the truly educated blame neither others nor themselves. The anticipation of night and the fear of dawn lead to a wasted day. Live in the present rather than anxiously awaiting an uncertain future. Wisdom lies in finding joy in what one possesses, without grieving over what is lacking. Lead a virtuous life. If there are just gods, they won't judge your devotion, but will embrace you for the virtues you embody. If the gods are unjust, there's no reason to worship them. In the absence of gods, your memory will endure through the noble life you've lived. To escape life's challenges, transformation of self is essential, not a change of surroundings. Genuine happiness comes from relishing the present without fixating on an uncertain future. Abandon the preoccupation with hopes and fears. Find contentment in what you possess, for it is enough. The most significant treasures are inherent in us and within our grasp. A wise person is satisfied with their circumstances, devoid of desires for what they lack. The key to a joyful life is a liberated, noble, fearless, and unwavering mind. Such a mind transcends fear and desire, esteeming virtue as the sole good and considering everything else as a meaningless collection of transient things that neither enhances nor diminishes the highest good. A man rooted in this manner inevitably carries a perpetual cheerfulness and profound joy, stemming from within. He takes pleasure in his own resources, cherishing inner joys over external delights. When wronged, explore the motivations behind the action. Understanding the individual's concept of good and evil fosters empathy, easing amazement or resentment. Shared values lead to forgiveness, while differing perspectives make it simpler to overlook the confusion of a morally conflicted person. True wealth lies not in vast possessions, but in having modest desires. Live your philosophy. Let it be evident in your actions. Define your aspirations before taking action. Anyone who can provoke your anger becomes your master only if you allow their disturbance to affect you. Circumstances merely unveil a person to themselves. They do not shape the individual. Don't insist events conform to your wishes. Accept them as they occur, and harmony will prevail. God has entrusted me with myself. True freedom is mastery over oneself. Minimize dependence on external factors for happiness. Understand that a virtuous person acts for the sake of doing right, not for appearances. Harmony with nature ensures a prosperous life, while conformity to others' opinions leads to perpetual impoverishment. Weakness is the root of all cruelty. A well-ordered mind is best evidenced by the ability to pause and spend time alone. The essence of a gift lies not in the action or item, but in the intention behind the giver's or doer's gesture. Your fears reflect mortal tendencies, while your desires mirror immortal aspirations. Without a clear destination, no wind is advantageous to the man unaware of his sailing port. You live as if eternal, neglecting thoughts of your fragility. The passage of time goes unnoticed, and you spend it liberally, oblivious to the possibility that each moment given may be your last. The soul adopts the hue of its thoughts. One gains time by not scrutinizing neighbors' words or actions, but by focusing solely on one's own efforts to ensure justice and holiness. Commence each day with the acknowledgement that you may encounter hindrance, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. Recognize that these actions stem from the offender's ignorance of what is morally right or wrong. Yet having grasped the essence of goodness and its nobility, evil and its baseness, and the shared human rationality with the wrongdoer, who is like a sibling not in a physical sense, but as a fellow being endowed with reason and a divine essence, none of these actions can harm you. You remain untainted, as no one can involve you in degrading actions. Furthermore, there is no reason to harbor anger or animosity towards your fellow human, as both of you are born to collaborate, much like a person's two hands, feet, eyelids, or the upper and lower rows of teeth. Obstructing each other goes against the laws of nature, and any irritation or aversion is a form of obstruction. If someone informs you that a particular individual is speaking ill of you, refrain from making excuses. Instead, respond by acknowledging that the speaker may be unaware of your other shortcomings. Otherwise, they would not have mentioned only these particular faults. Harboring resentment and disdain for the world around us often does more harm than good. The reality we inhabit, with its past, present, people, and the ebb and flow of cultures and practices, exists as it is, not tailored to our personal desires. When we resist this reality and impose our expectations on it, internal resistance arises, leading to suffering. The greater the disparity between reality and our expectations, the more intense the resistance. The world is what it is, not what we wish it to be. Embrace the art of accepting life, embrace fate and all its facets, following the Stoic principle of amor fati. It is essential to love fate because it grants us the ability to live and experience life. Unfortunately, amor fati is sometimes misconstrued as a passive and defeatist acceptance of the world. True acceptance involves acknowledging the world's shortcomings, while actively engaging with and challenging the wrongs and injustices we encounter. It appears that there is a misconception about the Stoic principle here. Embracing reality doesn't equate to passive submission. It involves cultivating the ability to perceive it objectively. It's about acknowledging that, in this moment, this is the state of the world. The key is to observe our surroundings without the distortion of personal bias and expectations, gaining a clearer understanding of the situations we encounter. This clarity enables us to discern what is within our control and what is not. We can then use that control to initiate change first within ourselves and, if possible, extend it to positively impact the world around us. When experiencing anger towards someone, consider the factors that led to their behavior. It's effortless to judge from our own viewpoint, but it's more profound to empathize with the wrongdoer, attempting to comprehend the hardships they've faced, the burdens they carry, or the life experiences that brought them to the moment that seemed offensive to you. Most individuals are striving to do their best with the resources available to them. While accountability for our actions is universal, it's essential to recognize the distinction between a person's experiences and their behavior. A notable irony in life, from my perspective, lies in the human pursuit of comfort, the endeavor to eliminate all sources of hardship and suffering. While seeking comfort in fundamental aspects like food, shelter, security, and companionship makes sense, extending it to every facet of our lives seems to introduce a unique form of difficulty. Instead of venturing into the unknown, expanding our comfort zone, and adapting to the challenges it presents, excessive comfort appears to pose the opposite risk. It diminishes our resilience to hardship, fostering purposelessness, apathy, sloth, and the various constraints associated with a shrinking comfort zone. A less frequently considered challenge in modern life, in my view, involves balancing the comfort derived from meeting basic needs with the voluntary hardship necessary to prevent that comfort from weakening our resolve. The ancient Stoics advocated voluntary hardship, as seen in Marcus Aurelius choosing an uncomfortable bed and Seneca opting to swim in icy rivers. Both recognized the dangers of excessive comfort and appreciated the benefits of introducing discomfort into one's life. Day by day, we often distance ourselves from the reality of death, assuming it to be an event in the distant future. However, the truth is that death is a constant companion, an ever-present aspect of life. Today might be our last. Embracing this awareness instills deep gratitude for the things we often take for granted, recognizing that each experience could be one of the last, whether it's the rustling of leaves in the wind, the presence of loved ones, or simply the enjoyment of good food. The Stoics refer to this practice as memento mori, a reminder to remember death. Life's essence is constant transformation. Since the universe's initial shifts, basic elements coalesce to form clouds and solid bodies, laying the groundwork for life's inception. The cycle of birth and death ensued, culminating in the precise configuration that birthed you and me. Similar to the rhythmic ebb and flow of a wave, its inception, crescendo, and eventual crash, our lives are mere fragments of a more expansive cycle. We take form, experience, and conclude, allowing our atoms to reconfigure, perpetuating the ongoing cycle of life. Universal change, from the grand to the minuscule, shapes the entirety of existence. Life's enhancement often springs from the incremental, day-to-day alterations in habits rather than the attainment of lofty goals or accumulation of material wealth. Choices like waking up earlier, venturing outside more frequently, engaging in physical activity, revisiting neglected books, or being more present with loved ones wield a profound impact. While noteworthy achievements play a role, the steady development of habits over time, not fleeting moments of joy, lays the foundation for a more content life. Striking a delicate equilibrium is crucial when contemplating the future and the past. Looking ahead is vital for long-term planning and readiness for anticipated events. However, fixating too much on the future risks allowing life to slip away, missing the very experiences one spent time preparing for. Similarly, the past serves as a tool for learning, but dwelling too extensively on what was may mean overlooking the life where all the lessons of the past are applied. While the future aids in planning and preparation, and the past facilitates learning, life unfolds exclusively in the present moment. Confronting death, an inevitable fate for us all, means surrendering to the unknown time and place, largely beyond my control. Whether tomorrow, a year from now, or 2 decades hence, the moment of meeting death is intrinsic to the nature of living beings, despite our resistance. Yet in the present I am alive. Therefore, I will wield what lies within my control, determining how to utilize the time granted to me. I don't intend to trivialize your misfortune or offer false comfort. If tears could defy fate, let us pour them forth. Each day could be consumed by mourning, and every night by sorrow instead of sleep. Subject yourself to the harshness of your own hands, let your face bear the brunt, and permit every cruelty of grief if it brings solace. However, if the deceased cannot be resurrected, no matter how we lament, if destiny remains unyielding to even the greatest sorrow, and death retains its unassailable grip on what it has claimed, then let our futile grief cease. It's time to chart our own course, no longer allowing misfortune to dictate our direction. A skillful pilot does not let waves wrest control of the rudder, or allow the sails to flutter freely, abandoning the ship to the storm. Instead, one who seizes the helm, holding on steadfastly until the sea engulfs, deserves commendation, even in the face of shipwreck. Let the future not perturb you. If it arrives, confront it with the same arsenal of reason that presently equips you against the current challenges. Sages face misfortunes that may touch them without rendering them incapacitated. Physical pain, infirmity, the loss of loved ones, or the devastations of war on their homeland. Acknowledging the sensitivity of the sage, we don't attribute to them the hardness of rock or iron. Unlike the foolish person who perceives such experiences as dreadful and terrifying, the wise person, after a brief impact on demeanor, maintains unwavering opinions about the true nature of these visions. They recognize that these visions are not to be feared, but induce terror through false appearances and groundless alarms. Life mirrors a military campaign, where one serves on watch, another in reconnaissance, and another on the front line. Each person's life is a diverse and prolonged battle. Embrace your role with vigilance, executing every command. You occupy a pivotal post, not a lowly one, and your assignment lasts a lifetime. Instead of yearning for events to unfold according to your desires, wish for events to unfold as they do, and your life will progress smoothly. Life's primary task is simple: distinguish between matters, categorizing those beyond my control and those influenced by my choices. I must clearly recognize that good and evil do not reside in uncontrollable external factors, but within myself, specifically in the choices I make. Pursuing virtue for its inherent value, devoid of external influences like fear or hope, defines the path to true happiness. Mastery of your craft to be virtuous is achieved through adherence to general principles, some concerning the universe's nature and others about the proper constitution of humanity. The most beautiful and significant element within our control, even delighting the gods, is the judicious use of our impressions. We must wholeheartedly focus on what we can control, entrusting elements beyond our influence to the cosmic order. Disturbance arises not from external things, but from the principles and notions we form about them. Blaming others for one's misfortune characterizes the uninformed. Those in the process of instruction blame themselves, while those fully instructed blame neither others nor themselves. One who remains unaware of their identity, purpose, the nature of the world, and their associations within it cannot navigate life effectively. Without the ability to discern between good and evil, beauty and ugliness, truth and falsehood, such an individual cannot align their desires, impulses, or judgments with reason. Instead, they move through life oblivious, considering themselves significant when, in reality, they hold no importance. Isn't this ignorance the root cause of humanity's mistakes and misfortunes throughout history? Fortune binds us all. Some are shackled by golden, expansive chains, while others bear short and rusty ones. Yet the prison encompasses us all. Even those who have bound others find themselves bound. Whether a chain hangs on the left or right side, honors, wealth, nobility, humility, external power, or internal tyranny, all are forms of bondage. Life is universal slavery, and each must acclimate to their circumstances, complaining as little as possible and seeking solace in nearby virtues. No bitterness is so profound that a composed mind cannot find solace. Skillful writers have repurposed small tablets for various uses, and clever arrangements have transformed narrow plots into habitable spaces. Apply reason to challenges. Harsh circumstances can be mitigated, narrow confines expanded, and burdens lightened for those who bear them with cleverness. If external events cause distress, the pain is not inherent to the circumstances, but arises from your interpretation. The power to alter this interpretation lies within you and can be revoked at any moment. These arguments lack cohesion. Being richer than you doesn't make me better. It simply means my possessions surpass yours. Being more eloquent than you doesn't make me superior. It signifies that my style excels yours. Yet in essence, you are neither defined by possessions nor style. Yielding to anger not only involves inherent harm, but also reinforces the habit, adding fuel to the fire. Succumbing to a fleshly temptation is not just a singular defeat, it fortifies dissolute habits. Acts influence habits and faculties. Just as a person recovering from a fever is not in the same state as before, mental ailments leave lingering traces. Without erasing these, subsequent challenges result not in mere blisters but in sores. If you want to curb anger, don't nourish the habit. Deny it anything that fuels its growth. Begin by maintaining calm and counting the days without anger. Progress from daily anger to every other day, then every 2 and so on. Upon reaching 30 days, offer thanks to the gods. When faced with difficulty rising from bed, remind yourself of your duty as a human being. Reflect on the purpose for which you were born and the tasks you were destined to accomplish. Instead of complaining, consider if staying warm under the blankets aligns with your true calling. If you feel like you are losing the battle to your mind in the depression and anxiety field, I did a video to help you win over those emotions and live a free life. It's in the first comment. Check it out. We often overlook how dispensable many things are until we experience life without them. Our usage has not been out of necessity, but mere possession. To attain tranquility, engage in less or more precisely. Focus on the essential. Align with the rational principles of social existence, deriving double satisfaction from doing less exceptionally well. Much of what we say and do is non-essential. Eliminating it grants more time and tranquility. Constantly inquire, is this necessary? Riches themselves don't inherently cause evil. Rather, they tempt individuals into wrongdoing. Generally, any discipline applied to the body that modifies desires or habits serves ascetic purposes. However, when done for show, it exposes someone seeking external validation, shouting, "Look at how great I am." Well said, Apollonius. If you desire personal discipline, wait until you're overheated, then take a mouthful of cold water, spit it out, and share it with no one. What harms the beehive cannot benefit the bees. Dedicate yourself to just actions, merging thought and action for the common good, aligning with what you were born to do. Men prioritize the length of their lives over living nobly, although every individual can attain a noble life, yet no one has the power to extend life. In a race, one should strive to be victorious, but it's entirely wrong to sabotage or push aside competitors. Similarly, in life, seeking personal benefit is not unfair, but taking from others is unjust. Evil for humanity encompasses injustice, cruelty, and indifference to a neighbor's trouble, while virtue includes brotherly love, goodness, justice, beneficence, and concern for neighbors' well-being. The courageous, whether in exile or at home, fearlessly confront all threats. Consequently, they boldly express their thoughts, whether at home or in exile. Philosophy doesn't promise to secure external things for individuals. Doing so would extend beyond its proper subject matter. Just as a carpenter's material is wood and a sculptor's material is bronze, the art of living focuses on each person's own life. My counsel is as follows. Apply what philosophers say and write to pursue a happy life. Seek out their practical teachings, spirited expressions, and noble-minded sayings for immediate application. Master them to the point where words transform into actions. Those who study philosophy but lead lives contrary to their teachings disappoint humanity the most. The crucial factor is not what burdens you bear, but how you bear them. Your departure from life is a possibility at any moment. Let this realization guide your actions, words, and thoughts. Life's primary task is to distinguish between matters beyond control and those influenced by personal choices. Look within for good and evil, not to uncontrollable external factors, but to the choices that are yours. True happiness lies in relishing the present without anxious reliance on the future. Abandon the amusement of hopes or fears and find contentment in what you have, which is sufficient. The one who, considering everything as nothing, recognizes the greatest blessings within and reachable, is content with their lot, whatever it may be, without yearning for what they lack. Avoid expecting everything to align with your desires. Instead, hope that events unfold as they naturally will. This approach ensures a smoother flow in your life. I welcome anyone who can challenge, prove a mistake, or offer an alternative perspective. My pursuit is for the truth, which has never caused harm. Achieving something worthwhile through hard work makes the labor pass swiftly, yet the goodness endures. Conversely, engaging in shameful acts for pleasure results in fleeting joy, but enduring shame. Just as a gem requires friction for polishing, and a man undergoes trials for perfection. Extend tolerance to others, but maintain strict standards for yourself. No one can possess everything they desire, but they have the power to avoid longing for what's lacking and joyfully utilize what they do have. Gain the respect of all by first earning respect for yourself. Don't anticipate encouraging good deeds in others while conscious of your own misdeeds. The most significant revelation in any era is that a person can transform their life by altering their attitude. Excellence is never accidental. It arises from high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It signifies the wise selection among many alternatives. Destiny is determined by choice, not chance. We are frequently scared by what might happen, and our suffering is often greater in our imagination than in reality. Mastery over oneself is the key to conquering the world. Does lamenting troubles contribute to lightening their burden? Your control extends to your mind, not external events. Recognize this and you'll discover inner strength. Refrain from actions that aren't right and words that aren't true. Live in a manner where there's nothing you couldn't disclose to your enemy as easily as keeping it to yourself. To awaken to your true self requires releasing the imagined version of who you think you are. A person of high principles values truth more than the opinions of others. With 2 ears and 1 mouth, prioritize listening over speaking. Obstacles to action propel action forward. What obstructs the path becomes the path. Don't make promises twice that you can fulfill once. Failing to correct a mistake is another error in itself. One who has a meaningful purpose can endure almost any challenge. Keep in mind 2 truths. Firstly, that the cycle of events repeats, whether observed in a century, 2 centuries, or an eternity. Secondly, both the longest lived and those nearing the end surrender the same thing, the present. It's the only possession, and what one lacks cannot be forfeited. Ultimately, instead of pondering the meaning of life, one should acknowledge that life poses the question. Each person is interrogated by life, and the response lies in being accountable for one's own existence. Responding to life requires taking responsibility. Anxiety, regardless of its intensity, holds no sway over impending events. The joy in your life hinges on the caliber of your thoughts. A sign of a well-organized mind, in my view, is a person's capacity to pause and spend time in solitude. The most potent antidote to stress is our capability to select one thought over another. I commence speaking only when certain that what I'll say adds value and isn't better left unspoken. All Hellenistic schools share a common perspective on defining wisdom primarily as a state of profound tranquility. In this context, philosophy emerges as a remedy for human concerns, distress, and suffering. The Cynics attribute these to societal constraints, the Epicureans to the pursuit of false pleasures, the Stoics to pleasure and self-interest, and the skeptics to misguided opinions. Regardless of their claim to Socratic heritage, all Hellenistic philosophers align with Socrates in acknowledging that human beings grapple with misery, distress, and evil due to ignorance. Evil resides not in things but in the subjective value judgments imposed on them. Therefore, the cure for afflictions lies in persuading individuals to alter their value judgments, making these philosophies therapeutic in essence. Simplicity, patience, compassion, these form your supreme treasures. By embracing simplicity in actions and thoughts, you return to the essence of existence. Practicing patience with both allies and adversaries aligns with the natural order. Extending compassion to yourself fosters harmony among all beings in the world. Taoism embodies the art of navigating the present, focusing on ourselves. It is the meeting point of God and nature within us, where yesterday departs from tomorrow. The present represents a dynamic infinity, the rightful realm of relativity. Relativity necessitates constant adaptation, and the art of life lies in perpetual readjustment to our surroundings. Find contentment in your current possessions. Celebrate the unfolding of events as they are. When you recognize no inadequacy, the entirety of the world becomes yours. Allow your eyes to perceive reality, unswayed by external expectations. Let your ears embrace the natural sounds around, unaffected by others' preferences. Speak your mind freely, liberated from seeking approval or avoiding disapproval. Permit your thoughts to wander unrestrained by external dictates. Denying your senses and mind their natural expression infringes upon their rights. Liberation from constraints allows you to nurture life. Exercise caution in what nourishes your aspirations. If fed with apprehension and anxiety, you cultivate hindrances that stifle your dreams. Infuse them with hope and solutions, fostering the growth of success. Continually seek opportunities to transform challenges into pathways for triumph. Stay vigilant for ways to foster the growth of your aspirations. Resilience must always be accompanied by flexibility. If you resist excessively, you risk breaking. Hence, a resilient individual discerns when to employ resilience and when to adapt, and fortune or calamity hinges on understanding when to yield. Those who are unfamiliar with enduring difficulties face the greatest adversity. Some situations demand nothing more than patiently enduring our hardships until a brighter day arrives. Resolving an issue requires addressing the root cause, not just alleviating the symptoms. To acknowledge one's lack of knowledge and seek understanding is a mark of wisdom. Believing one knows while remaining ignorant is a detriment. Acquaintance with others demonstrates intelligence, but true wisdom lies in self-awareness. Dominating others showcases strength, yet genuine power lies in self-mastery. A branch that is overly rigid is prone to breaking. Opposition may lead to destruction, while the ability to yield ensures survival. Only someone uninterested in authority is suited to be entrusted with it. At your core, you possess the solution. You are aware of your identity and desires. Existence unfolds through a sequence of organic and unforced transformations. Embrace them. Resistance only births sorrow. Allow reality to unfold naturally. Let things progress in whatever manner they choose. Uttering kind words instills confidence. Cultivating kindness in thoughts yields depth. Expressing kindness through generosity begets love. A mind inevitably harbors preconceptions, hindering direct understanding. Consequently, a mindful individual struggles to truly comprehend. Describing Zen resembles trying to confine wind in a container. The moment you seal it, it ceases to be wind and eventually becomes stagnant air. A seasoned voyager lacks rigid plans and harbors no fixation on reaching a destination. When you find contentment in embracing your true self without comparisons or competitions, you earn the respect of all. Those who remain blind to themselves but keenly observe others, who fail to comprehend their essence but readily grasp external facets, seize external possessions while neglecting self-possession. They are drawn to external pleasures but struggle to find fulfillment within. Engage in a game involving mere glass shards and your skills will shine. Introduce an expensive belt buckle and you may fumble. Place money at stake and clumsiness may ensue. It's not a loss of skill but a disruption caused by external factors that erodes internal composure. Lose your inner calm and success eludes every endeavor. Outward courage propels one to face death. Inner courage empowers one to embrace life. Such an individual won't tread where will is absent, won't act against their convictions. Praise or condemnation from the world holds no sway over them. Their tranquility remains undisturbed. Associations formed for gain quickly unravel in the face of adversity and peril. Allow your thoughts to meander in simplicity. Merge your spirit with the vast expanse. Harmonize with the unfolding reality and discard personal perspectives. In doing so, the world finds its natural order under your guidance. A solid beam or pillar serves to breach a city wall, yet proves futile for sealing a small hole. This signifies a distinction in functionality. Steeds of superior lineage, such as Kiji or Huali, could cover vast distances in a day, but in rat-catching, they yielded to the prowess of the wild cat or the weasel. Here lies a variance in skill. The horned owl adeptly snags fleas during the night and discerns the finest hair tips, yet in daylight, its eyes fail to perceive mounds or hills. This points to an inherent difference in nature. Would you rectify your master and eliminate wrong, or establish order as your master and eliminate disorder? If so, you've misunderstood the principles of heaven and earth, as well as the essence of myriad entities. It's akin to proclaiming mastery of heaven while eliminating earth, or declaring mastery of yin while eradicating yang. Clearly an impossibility. While we may drift along the Tao, there's no harm in steering. If Tao resembles a river, understanding the locations of rocks proves beneficial. Immense power begets anxiety, and absolute power begets ennui. Even God relinquishes total power, masquerading as people, fish, insects, and plants. The tale of the king who anonymously wanders among his subjects. Journeying unfolds as a delightful escapade, especially when you cease to acknowledge the act of traveling. In this state, every sight and activity becomes a source of joy. Those who introspect during their travels transcend mere observation. Indeed, no demarcation exists between the observer and the scenery. You immerse yourself entirely, so that each blade of grass, every mountain, and every lake pulsates with life, constituting an integral part of your being. When the boundary between self and other dissolves, the ultimate travel experience materializes. For knowledge, accumulate daily. For wisdom, discard incessantly. Those who possess understanding remain silent. Those who speak lack true knowledge. Seal your lips, shut off your senses, dull your sharpness, release your knots, soften your gaze, settle the dust. This embodies the essence of original identity. Emulate the Tao, unapproachable and unretreatable, unaffected by benefit or harm, immune to honor or disgrace. It ceaselessly gives of itself. This enduring quality arises from continual self-surrender. Embrace stillness, and transformations will spontaneously occur. Shatter your physical and mental constructs, relinquish sensory faculties, erase your identity as a distinct entity, and you may merge into profound unity with the vast and limitless. The Tao is lucid, yet clarity demands the removal of all superfluous clutter. Remain vigilant against your own foolishness. Beware of the erratic leaps of your mind. In the absence of mental engagements, return to genuine awareness. When unified mindfulness becomes authentically real, you apprehend the grand restoration. The foolish endeavor is to seek tranquility while body and mind remain unstable. Venturing into the mountains under such conditions is sheer folly. When two sequential occurrences unfold, we label them as cause and effect. If we attribute one event as the catalyst for the other, perceiving a response between them, it becomes a reaction. If the two incidents seem unrelated, we designate it a mere coincidence. If we believe that an individual deserves the outcome, it is termed retribution or reward, contingent on the event's positivity or negativity for the recipient. When there is no apparent reason for the simultaneous or close proximity events, we characterize it as an accident. Therefore, our interpretation of coincidences hinges on our worldview, whether we perceive interconnectedness, where events create resonances like ripples, or view occurrences as mere coincidences that acquire meaning based on our belief system. Lao Tzu's insight: it all resides in your perspective. Mastery of meditation renders the mind unwavering, akin to a flame undisturbed in a windless space. Within the serene mind, in the profundity of meditation, the self unveils itself. Observing the self through the self, an aspirant experiences the joy and peace of absolute fulfillment. Having attained the enduring joy beyond sensory realms, revealed in the tranquil mind, one remains steadfast in adherence to eternal truth. You possess the right to engage in work, but solely for the sake of the work itself. The fruits of labor are not your entitlement. Desire for the outcomes of work should never serve as your motivation. Laziness must never gain ground. Carry out each action with unwavering focus on the Supreme Lord. Renounce attachment to results. Maintain equanimity in success and failure, as yoga prescribes this evenness of temperament. Work infused with anxiety about outcomes pales in comparison to work executed without such concern. In the tranquility of self-surrender, seek refuge in the knowledge of Brahma. Those who labor selfishly for results find themselves in misery. In this realm, three gateways lead to despair, the portals of desire, wrath, and avarice. Liberated from these three attributes, one can triumph in achieving salvation and reaching the loftiest objective. Your essence aligns with your convictions. You transform into that which you believe you can evolve into. Humanity is shaped by its convictions. As one believes, so one becomes. Take shelter in the disposition of detachment, and you will accumulate the riches of spiritual consciousness. Those solely driven by the craving for the outcomes of their actions and fraught with anxiety over results are genuinely unhappy. When an individual fixates on the gratification of senses, attraction for them takes root. From attraction springs desire, the craving for possession, leading to passion and ultimately anger. Passion begets a muddled mind, followed by forgetfulness of duty. This forgetfulness begets the erosion of reason, and the decay of reason propels humanity toward ruin. Contemplate this day, for it embodies life, the very essence of existence. Within its fleeting course reside all the truths and realities of your being, the joy of maturation, the grandeur of endeavor, and the magnificence of beauty. Yesterday is but a reverie, and tomorrow is merely a prospect. However, a well-lived today transforms every yesterday into a dream of joy and every tomorrow into a vision of optimism. Thus, contemplate this day with care. Such is the deliverance of the dawn. The soul immersed in contemplation of the self is content to serve the self and finds fulfillment within the self. Nothing more remains for such a soul to accomplish. The one who fulfills duties without attachment, offering the results to the Supreme Lord, remains untouched by sinful actions, akin to the lotus unaffected by water. Mastery over the mind brings tranquility in the face of heat and cold, pain and pleasure, honor and dishonor. Such a person remains steadfast in unity with the Supreme Self. Strive to engage in self-improvement, never demeaning oneself. The self is both a friend and a foe, both near and far, within and outside every being. It moves yet remains motionless. In its subtlety, it transcends understanding. Although invisible, it manifests divided in various creatures. Recognize it as the creator, preserver, and destroyer. Existing in every heart, it surpasses darkness, known as the light of lights, the objective and culmination of knowledge and knowledge itself. It is wiser to strive in one's own righteous path than to succeed in another's. Following one's own path results in no loss, whereas competition in another's path fosters fear and insecurity. Tranquility eludes the one lacking concentration. Death is an inevitable reality for the one born, just as birth is inevitable for the deceased. Therefore, do not grieve for the unavoidable. Delusion emerges from anger, confusing the mind. The destruction of reasoning accompanies a bewildered mind, leading to downfall. Endurance is among the most challenging disciplines, yet it is through endurance that ultimate victory is achieved. Let us express gratitude and rise, for even if we haven't learned much, we've learned a little. Even if we haven't learned a little, at least we haven't fallen ill. And if we've fallen ill, at least we haven't perished. Thus, let gratitude prevail. Our essence is shaped by our thoughts. It is built upon our thoughts and comprised of our thoughts. If a person speaks or acts with malicious thoughts, suffering trails them like the wheel follows the foot of the beast pulling the cart. Conversely, if a person speaks or acts with benevolent thoughts, happiness accompanies them like an everlasting shadow. Clinging to resentment is akin to seizing a burning ember with the intention of hurling it at another. In the end, you are the one scorched. A solitary moment can alter a day, a single day can transform a life, and a singular life has the potential to reshape the entire world. Be fully present in your current location, otherwise you risk overlooking the essence of your life. Kindness ought to be the inherent manner of existence, not a rare occurrence. The journey itself is more valuable than the destination. To lead a virtuous, altruistic existence, one must relinquish the possessiveness amid abundance. Whatever a monk persistently contemplates and reflects upon shapes the inclination of his consciousness. True wisdom does not emerge from ceaseless chatter, but from a state of tranquility, love, and fearlessness. Anger won't impose a penalty upon you. Rather, it is you who will endure the repercussions of your anger. Similar to the great ocean's singular taste of salt, this teaching and discipline bear one taste, the taste of liberation. The origin of suffering lies in attachment. Your mission is to explore your world and then, with unwavering dedication, offer yourself to it. There is no blaze as intense as passion, no predator as formidable as hatred, no entanglement as treacherous as folly, and no current as forceful as greed. Refrain from dwelling on the past, cease dreaming of the future, and center your mind on the current moment. Bliss will remain elusive to those who fail to acknowledge and cherish what they already possess. At your core, deep within, you are essentially the very fabric and structure of existence itself. Recognizing that the past and the future are mere illusions, I grasp their existence within the present, the only reality that truly exists. Your existence is intricately connected to the unfolding of the entire universe, much like a wave is a reflection of the entire ocean's movements. The significance of tomorrow and future plans hinges on a profound connection with present reality. Living endlessly for the future would perpetually miss the essence of existence. The essence of life lies in simply being alive, undeniably plain, obvious, and uncomplicated. Yet many rush about in needless panic, driven by the illusion of needing to achieve something beyond themselves. Once liberated from rigid perceptions of the world, its subtleties and miracles unfold in ways more profound than initially perceived. You serve as an aperture through which the universe observes and explores itself. Embracing change, moving with it and participating in the dance is the only way to comprehend its inherent sense. A scholar strives to acquire knowledge daily. A student of Buddhism endeavors to unlearn something each day. Hermits understand that venturing into a secluded forest and embracing silence reveals the profound connection with everything. If dwelling on the past and future diminishes my awareness of the present, I ponder whether I am genuinely living in the authentic world. Meditation unveils the realization that the pinnacle of life is perpetually reached in the immediate moment. The only Zen present atop the mountaintop is the Zen carried up there within you. Turbid water finds clarity best when left undisturbed. Every perceptive individual desires to unravel the mysteries of their own being, yet they find both fascination and frustration in the enigma that understanding oneself proves to be the most challenging pursuit. Persistent problems defying resolution should be viewed with suspicion, as they might be questions framed in an incorrect manner. Embracing complete freedom to feel anxiety renders one significantly less anxious. The same applies to guilt. Proclaiming that acquiring money is the paramount objective leads to a life squandered in pursuing tasks one despises. This cycle of undesirable actions for survival is inherently foolish. The attempt to exert power or control over another inevitably confers the very same power and control upon that individual. The nature of things is inherent and unalterable. Gazing into the cosmos during the night, we abstain from making judgments about stars being right or wrong, or constellations being well or poorly arranged. Philosophy represents an individual's expression of boundless curiosity and an endeavor to comprehend the world primarily through intellectual means. Zen spirituality does not intertwine with contemplating God while engaged in mundane tasks like peeling potatoes. Rather, Zen's spirituality lies in the simplicity of such activities. Clinging to the belief in God contradicts having faith, as true faith involves letting go instead of clinging. The overlooked truth is that thoughts and words are merely conventions, and treating them too seriously can be detrimental. Conventions, like money, are social conveniences, but equating them with genuine wealth is absurd. Similarly, thoughts, ideas, and words serve as tokens for real things. Our understanding of ourselves is shaped by others. Their attitudes toward us act as a mirror through which we learn about ourselves, albeit distorted. Our awareness of the vast influence exerted by our social environment is perhaps somewhat dim. Imagine hurling a bottle of ink against a wall, creating a dense pattern at the point of impact that gradually transforms into intricate details as it spreads towards the edges. Similarly, the significant explosion that initiated existence unfolded, and we, as complex individuals, find ourselves far on the periphery of that cosmic event, fascinating yet limited when we define ourselves exclusively within those boundaries. If one believes their existence is confined within their skin, they perceive themselves as intricate patterns near the outer limits of the initial cosmic explosion, both in space and time. Despite originating from a colossal bang billions of years ago, they now perceive themselves solely as intricate human beings, detaching from the awareness that they are still connected to the grand cosmic event. Your identity is contingent on your self-definition. If the universe began with a Big Bang, you are not merely a consequence of it. You are not a mere puppet at the culmination of the process. You remain an integral part of the ongoing cosmic process, the original force of the universe, manifesting as the unique individual you are. Encountering others reveals not just their societal labels, but the fundamental energy of the cosmos expressing itself in a distinctive manner. Recognizing this, we acknowledge our own primordial connection, although we have been conditioned to perceive ourselves as separate entities. Just like a serpent sheds its skin, we must continuously cast off our past. What you currently are is a reflection of your past, and your future self will emerge from your present actions. Similar to an unwavering rock in the face of the wind, the wise remain steadfast, unaffected by either praise or blame. A single candle can ignite thousands more without diminishing its own life. Shared happiness is boundless. Our thoughts mold us. We transform into the embodiment of our contemplations. When the mind is pure, joy becomes an ever-present companion. Each morning presents a new birth, and today's actions hold the utmost significance. Seek refuge within yourself. True sanctuary is found nowhere else. Before expressing yourself, consider, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Our salvation lies solely in our hands. No one else has the power, authority, or capability to save us. We must tread our path independently. The key to mental and physical well-being is to refrain from mourning the past and worrying about the future. Instead, live wisely and wholeheartedly in the present. Like the gradual filling of a water pot drop by drop, the wise accumulate goodness little by little. An undisciplined mind is inherently disobedient, whereas a disciplined mind exhibits unparalleled obedience. Should you discover no companions on your spiritual journey, tread the path alone. Peace originates from within. There is no need to seek it externally. Extend compassion to all beings, irrespective of their wealth or poverty. Each bears their own suffering. Some endure too much, while others bear too little. If your compassion excludes yourself, it remains incomplete. Hatred never subsides through hatred. It is only through love that this eternal principle is realized. Nothing has the potential to harm you as profoundly as your unguarded thoughts. In the vast expanse of the sky, distinctions of east and west are non-existent. Human minds create these divisions and then accept them as truths. If we neglect to assist others in their times of need, who will be there to offer us assistance? A heart filled with generosity, speech adorned with kindness, and a life dedicated to service and compassion are the factors that rejuvenate humanity. An idea transformed into action holds greater significance than an idea confined to the realm of thought. Water purifies the body, tears purify the ego, knowledge purifies the intellect, and love purifies the soul. We see that life can be extremely unpleasant if we don't know how to deal with our mind. The best way to win in life starts with the mind. If we beat our mind first, we can beat life later. Philosophy always helps us to live better, simpler, and more intensely. and we have 7 lessons for living life as if nothing affects you. Click on the screen and watch them now.